It was a great scene. It was a great scene. By the way, just want to point out there's some, Sean McVay holding the red cup. That's why that's real. Okay, he had a little red cup in his hand. Aaron Donald talking about drinking. You could hear it. You could see it. They were having a ball. So as far as the Rams and their prospects going forward, I know they're favorites or they are heavily favored to be in the conversation again for the 2022 NFL season. And I feel like we were just here, Mike. Here we are, February 2022, February 2021, after another home team won the Super Bowl in more convincing fashion. Their general manager, not their head coach, their general manager said at the parade, "Let's run this back. Let's run it back." And the Buccaneers were the prohibitive favorites to repeat as Super Bowl champs. And I said at the time that I didn't think they'd do it, but I gave all of the, frankly, 1999, 2000, 2001 kind of reasons why they wouldn't repeat as champs. Guys change, contracts, everybody's gunning for you, on and on. Okay, later for that. That's not why the Buccaneers didn't win the championship. Guys did change. They got hurt. Some guys got hurt. It just wasn't the same kind of vibe for Tampa in 2021 as it was in 2020.
They didn't make it.
It wasn't.
They didn't make it. They didn't make it past the divisional round because they decided to blitz in a situation where they shouldn't have. And Cooper Kupp beat him over the top, and Matthew Stafford made a great throw. I mean, that's that. So I don't mean to derail your train of thought. That's just how close all of these games were. They could have been in the NFC Championship game for all we know.
That's where I'm going. They could have been, but that was a great comeback. They had to come back. The Rams did have the ball, so the Rams had the ball. They had a big lead on Tampa. Tampa had to fight all the way back. The Rams had the ball. They made the play. They were the better team. They were the better team that day and clearly for the season.
They won.
They won. But the reason
both
I don't
teams
see the Rams
played hard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
the reason both teams play hard. Thank you and good night. The reason I don't see the Rams repeating as Super Bowl champions, it really goes back to the era of your shirt. It's the Tecmo era. Let's call it the late 80s and early 90s, before we were blessed with Madden at a high level. Tecmo era, Tecmo football, Tecmo Bowl. And you think about the champions at that time, how close they were. If you talk about that swing, he had back-to-backs. I think the 49ers went back-to-back, not mistaken, 88 and 89, maybe. But then you had
Super Bowl 23.
Then you had the Giants. Then you had the Giants. Then you had the Washington Commanders. Okay, I'm calling them the Commanders.
That did not. Yeah, neither one of those repeated. Yep. Right. And then the Cowboys.
Then Cowboys back-to-back. Yeah. And then the Niners. So, but this right in there, those groups, those teams I named, all of them great. Not a single fluke in there. And if I go back a little bit further, I go back Washington and New York again. So Giants, Washington, San Francisco, Giants again, Washington again. I mean, they were so close, all well-coached Hall of Fame coaches, Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, Jimmy Johnson, getting it done. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we are now. Maybe the level of play is not there. Maybe these coaches aren't going to the Hall of Fame, but I just think the talent is so close that I don't look at the Rams and look at their competition, even in their division with the Niners, and say, clearly, the Rams are better than everybody else. I don't know. You just said it. Buccaneers could have been here. The 49ers could have been here. The Packers, for that matter, could have been here. The Rams took care of business. They made plays when they needed to. They won the championship. But by no means do I look at the Rams and look at the rest of the NFC and say, or the rest of the NFL and say nobody can really get with them, or they got the secret sauce. So when it really comes down to it, they'll have the edge, 2-point, 3-point, 4-point edge over everybody else. I think it's unlikely that we'll see a repeat champion in 2022.
Yeah, well, that's not a stretch. Nobody's done it since 03-04, the Patriots, right? And history is certainly on your side. I read this from Axios the other day. So far this century, at least one of the two Super Bowl teams I'll say that again. So far this century, at least one of the 2 Super Bowl teams has gone on to miss the playoffs the following season 64% of the time. Okay?
64%.
So basically, there's a 2 out of 3 chance based on recent history that either the Rams or Bengals miss the playoffs altogether next year.
Yeah.
Let alone a Rams repeat. All right, so let's start with personnel. Let's start with personnel.
Okay.
From a personnel standpoint, Les Snead and his crew can work around. They can restructure contracts. They can guarantee salary and amortize it over, the life of the contract and reduce the cap hit. They can play all the cap games and whatnot. They can keep this team together. They lose their offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell. He's Minnesota's coach now. It's official. But they keep Raheem Morris as defensive coordinator. They can bring the band back. They can run it back. They can keep the band together. All right, so that's one. From a personality standpoint, so there's personnel, personality. I think, and it's how I don't want to go like as far as the NBA. I always say once guys start hoarding championships, superstars hoard championships in the NBA. Is the old saying. Right. Yeah, football's a different beast, but the rationale is the same. It's like this team finally breaking through, being all in on this year and getting it done. I could see them playing with something of a freedom next year, even as defending champions, even as a so-called hunted and not the hunters. I could see something of a weight being lifted off them now that they finally got it done, now that they atoned for their Super Bowl 53 loss. Stafford can win the big game, so on and so forth. And I also don't see them being a bunch of guys who are thinking, oh, I got to get paid, or I got to do my TV show, or I got to do my book deal. All the things that Pat Riley used to talk about. Where the main thing ain't the main thing anymore. The disease of more. Is that right? Is it the disease of more? Is that what it is?
Sounds about right. Or maybe it's a different one.
Okay, it might be a different one, but you know what I'm talking about.
I like
it.
Keep going.
When guys start getting inflated egos. Von Miller's been there, done that.
If Pat Riley didn't say that, he should have. Anyway, go ahead.
Von Miller been there, done that. Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, Andrew Whitworth, if he comes back, I doubt it. I mean, this is probably it for him. But they got the right mix of guys. Like, everybody talks about the stars and the names, but they got good people on that team as well, good teammates on that team. So I don't think they're gonna come apart from within. So really what it comes down to, Michael, is just luck. Honestly, luck when it comes to health, luck when it comes to plays going your way that could have easily gone the other way, like we just talked about. So odds are that the Rams will not repeat next year just because it's hard. And it's just hard. It's really that simple. It's not even any more complicated than that. But I'll just say to you, if anybody is equipped to repeat, it is this group, because they can bring everybody back. They can re-sign everybody. They've done a really good job of maximizing late round picks. They can fill some holes on their team. They overcame quite a few injuries this year. Remember, they didn't have Robert Woods. Now they don't have Odell Beckham, and we'll see if he resigns, but he's hurt. They didn't have Robert Woods. Right. Their running backs were hurt throughout the year. The secondary was decimated by the end of the year, hence they had to call Eric Weddle out of retirement. So they got a chance to not only come back next year, but maybe come back better and get that first round bye. All I would say is, Michael, somebody's going to do it again eventually, right?
Eventually.
Somebody's going to repeat again, right?
But I think it may take a while. I think we need to see the reason the last repeat happened. You know why it happened? Because that team in the regular season was 28-4 over 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's why it happened. They were a dominant team. Now, they didn't win Super Bowls. They didn't blow people out in Super Bowls, but when you win 28 out of 32 and you're 6-0 over 2 postseasons,
but you know what?
You're dominant. And I don't think the Rams are dominant. I think a dominant team will do it.
Here's what's interesting, and that's a good point. That's a really good point. They were dominant in the final analysis, But refresh my memory. Obviously, you literally wrote the book on this, and I covered them, but, my memory is fading. I feel like the 03 team had a distinctly different identity than the 04
Definitely.
team.
No question.
And one person in particular is Corey Dillon. And 04 was Corey Dillon. Right. Yeah. That's what, they were a smash mouth running team. I don't remember which characters came and went in New England. Obviously, Brady was still there. Troy Brown was still there. I don't remember the key guys who came and went or who had a different role in 04 or no role in 04 compared to 03. I remember Dillon was the big difference, which is why, like you said, 04 it was better than 03. That's why I'm saying they did a good job those 2 years of realizing, and not that this is the only thing that it takes is just this realization, because everybody talks about, we starting from the bottom again. Everybody's climbing the mountain. We're right back at the bottom with anybody else. But the Patriots in 03 and 04 approached it from a personnel and personality standpoint as two completely different exercises. Couldn't the Rams do that this year? Couldn't the Rams come back next year and potentially be better? Matthew Stafford's second year in a system with Sean McVay versus, he won in his first year. It stands to reason that he could be better his second year. Maybe he cuts down on the turnovers. Maybe he doesn't throw a pick six in 3 straight games. Maybe they do have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
But I think it would be better for him.
Not that it matters in that.
Better for Matthew Stafford is probably not showing up in the statistics. It's just comfort level. It's hard to be a lot better than he was this year. You look at the numbers. Yeah, he was pretty good. Cooper Kupp could be better next year.
He did throw 17
triple
picks.
Crown. But he hit 41 touchdowns, right? So 41?
Yeah, 41 touchdowns.
Yeah,
41 touchdowns.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So 41 touchdowns, 17 picks, and Cooper Kupp was your Triple Crown winner this year. That's hard to.
Is he going to do that again?
Duplicate. Will he do that again?
Yeah.
So
does
they
he,
can
but
be
does
better
he have to?
and still be.
Does he have to
again, or it might be
maybe they have Cam Akers all year. Remember how Cam Akers finished his rookie year, and he wasn't great down the stretch, but maybe they have Cam Akers all year this year. Like they overcame. My point is, as well as things went for them in certain areas, they overcame a lot too. They overcame a lot of adversity as well, and yeah, some plays went their way. They were down 10 against San Francisco, for crying out loud, in the fourth quarter. I mean, not to mention, the way the Bucs game ended. So I don't know. I'm with you that the odds and history say that we won't see them repeat or anybody else repeat. But at a certain point, somebody's going to do it. And just like the 03-04 Patriots going to look at it and be like, oh, wow, they really did that. They really did that. Like the Rams could easily.
I need to see.
They can win 12 games again this year.
Yeah.
As presently constituted.
12-5 in the 17 game. I need to see 15-2. I see 15-2, 14-3.
That's when you'll believe them?
That's when I'll believe it. So all the teams that have repeated have been dominant teams. You don't have a team that just like, okay, well, good.
That went on a great run.
You don't go into the playoffs saying, right. You don't say, well, anybody can win it. No, the teams that second one, you say, okay, there it is. Whether it's the Cowboys, whether it's the
Steelers
Patriots, going back to the Steelers, dominance.
Yeah.
So I don't see a dominant team in the league.
Like all-time great. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.